Well, there's breaking news coming in at this hour from Iran. Streets burn as unrest engulfs Iran and huge crowds in the streets of Tehran. Now, there are new videos rather emerging from inside Iran that show massive crowds cheering and marching through the streets of Tehran despite a growing crackdown from the hardline Islamist regime. In the latest that we're getting you at this hour, at least 65 protesters have reportedly been killed since demonstrations began 2 weeks ago. Now, Iranian leaders are warning anyone could be arrested and could be potentially facing death penalty as an enemy of God. In the latest, the US President Donald Trump has said that Iran is looking at freedom and that US stands with Iran ready to help. Well, on this, we have my colleague Aditya Rajkol joining us on the broadcast. Aditya, take us through the details. We're understanding that there is a mass uprising in Iran and it's been a fortnight since the uprising started. Walk us through the details. What exactly is happening?
Well, unprecedented protests are being seen, Reet, on ground in Iran. Today is the 21st day of the protests. Over the last 21 days, we've seen unprecedented level of civilian unrest in Iran with the entire protest directed at the regime change. They want the mullah regime to change. They want democracy to be restored. As per latest reports, we are learning that 116 people, unfortunately, have lost their lives during the protests in Iran. Of course, now US President Donald Trump yet again has turned to Truth Social, and he has said that the people of Iran are looking at freedom like never before, and United States stand ready to help. What kind of help will the United States provide? Will it be militarily? Will it be diplomatically? Or is this the wait and watch game by the United States remains to be seen? Earlier, we had Marco Rubio, US Secretary of State, also saying that the United States is ready to support and completely supports the democracy restoration in Iran. Now, it's not just about the capital city of Tehran, but all across Iran in different cities, dozens of cities, we are seeing protests in which women are also coming out. We've also seen the Attorney General in Iran commenting and saying that protesters will be considered an enemy of God and death penalty charge will be leveled against them. This is also unprecedented because remember, Donald Trump had already warned Iran that if the violence continues and if there is deadly reaction of the state forces and the regime forces, then the United States will be forced to in fact intervene. Apart from this, a UN-mandated independent human rights fact-finding mission on Iran has urged authorities to immediately restore internet access and halt violent crackdown of the ongoing nationwide protest in Iran.
Right, absolutely. Aditya, you rightly mentioned that huge unrest in Iran. The US is, of course, making repeated statements, but it remains to be seen what exactly will happen. Will there be a regime change? Will the allies step in or not? Thank you so much for joining us and sharing those updates with us. Well, no one to protest and violence on the streets of Iran. Protesters are now demanding for political reform and an end to the regime's rule. The protesters have now spilled onto the streets of London. Meanwhile, a sharp war of words have been witnessed between the US President Donald Trump and Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. After repeated attacks from the US President, the Iran Supreme Leader has slammed the United States, saying that the US will fail in Iran just like the past US presidents, and that leaders who rule with arrogance inevitably face collapse. Referring directly to the US President Donald Trump, Khamenei said that America's calculations are flawed and that Trump has failed to understand Iran. Meanwhile, anti-Khamenei protests have been witnessed outside the Iran embassy in London. A protester has climbed onto the balcony of the Iranian embassy in West London as hundreds gathered outside the building, waving flags and shouting anti-government slogans.
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely.
امروز آمریکا غلط میفهمه مسائل رو محاسبش اشتباهه و غلطه. ایران رو نمیشناختند، هنوزم نمیشناسند. ایران رو نشناختند و غلط برنامه ریزی کردند. امروز هم نمیشناسند و غلط برنامه ریزی میکنند دشمنان ما. اون روز در اثر برنامه ریزی غلط شکست خوردند. امروز هم آمریکا بر اثر برنامه ریزی های غلط خود